Hello everyone, my name is Ilfa Aini and I'm here. I will explain about simple machine. So what is simple machine? Simple machine is a mechanical device that changes the direction and or magnitude of a force. In general, they can be defined as the simplest mechanisms that use leverage or also called mechanical advantage to multiply force. Ignoring the frictionless, the work done on the load is equal to the work done by the applied force. The machine can increase the amount of the output force at the cost of a proportional decrease in the distance moved by the load. The ratio of the output to the input force is called the mechanical advantage. So how many types of simple machines? There are six types of simple machine. The first is lever, the second is inclined plane, and the third is pulley. The next is wheel and axle, and then wedge, and the last is screw. So for the first, I will explain about lever. So what is lever? Lever is simply a point or range beam that is free to rotate on a pivot. A lever is a bar or board that rests on a support called a fulcrum. Downward force exerted on one end of the lever can be transferred and increased in an upward direction at the other end, allowing a small force to lift a heavy weight. So here it is the structure of the lever. It is simple. There are effort and then beam or board and then fulcrum and then load. So how to calculate uh, the force that need? The form is W or work uh, times by load equals to force times by effort. There are three types of lever. The first, for the first class, the fulcrum is in the middle, and then the second class, the fulcrum is in the end of the hand. It's near to the load, and the last for the third class, the fulcrum is in the effort hand. The next type of simple machine is inclined plane. Inclined plane are a type of simple machine which manipulate the direction and magnitude of a force. An inclined plane consists of a sloping surface. It is used for raising heavy bodies. The plane offers a mechanical advantage in that the force required to move an object up the incline is less than the weight being raised. The steeper of the slope or incline, the more nearly the required force approaches the actual weight, and the formula or the equation for inclined plane is force times by um, jarak equals to work times by height. And for the F here, we can calculate using equation F equal force equal to W times by sin theta. The third type of simple machine is pulley. Pulley is a wheel that carries a flexible rod, cord, cable, chain, or belt on its rim. There are three types of pulleys. Like the first pulley is a fixed pulley. A fixed pulley is one in which the drum is secured to a single spot, while the force required to lift or move an object is no different than if you were lifting it by hand. The fixed pulley allows you to change the direction of the force needed. For example, when attached to a bucket pulling water from a well, a fixed pulley allows you to pull laterally to raise the bucket in a more convenient manner than if you were hauling a bucket of water up vertically, hand over hand, but the bucket of water will still feel like the same weight after all, but lifting is more convenient. The next type of simple machine is wheel and axle. A wheel and axle is made up of circular frame, or we can call it the wheel, that revolves on a shaft or rod, or we can call it the axle. In its earliest form it was probably used for raising weights or water buckets from the wheels. A measure of force of amplification available with the pulley and rope system is the velocity ratio, or the ratio of the velocity at which the force is applied to the rope, or we call it by Vf, to the velocity at which the weight is raised, or we call it Vw. The ratio is equal to the twice radius of the large drum divided by the difference of radius of the smaller drum, and it can express in mathematically by the equation Vf divided by Vw equals to 2R divided by R2 minus R1. The next type uh, of simple machine is a wedge. A wedge is an object that tapers to, to a thin edge. Pushing the wedge in one direction puts a force in sideways direction. It's usually made of metal or wood, and it's used for splitting, lifting, tightening, and as in securing a hammer head onto its handle. And the last type of simple machine is screw. Screw is simply an inclined plane around a cylinder. Mechanical advantage depends on the space between the threads and the length or the thickness of the screw. The distance between threads is the same for each screw, but it's different on other screw. The distance between threads is called by a pitch. Screws are useful for holding things together, and they can pull or push an object together. A screw can also be used to lift heavy items and tightening things. The mechanical advantage of the screw depends on the space between the threads and the length. The closer the threads, the greater the mechanical advantage. It's easier to drive the screw into an object if the thread spacing is smaller. It takes less effort but more turn. If the space between the threads are wider, it is harder to drill a screw into an object, and it takes more effort but fewer turns. I think that is all from me. I'm sorry if there is any mistake. I will close the presentation session. Thank you so much for the attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye. See you in another chance.